Are we on? Are we now broadcasting live? I hope so. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Hi, here we go. Yes, it's another one. It's another one of those very strange live streams that YouTube has become famous for over the years. And yes, this is no exception. Don't worry though, it's only the internet. Just sit back and enjoy yourself. Here we go then. Yes, we are live now. English Addict, coming to you live from the birthplace of the English language, which just happens to be England. Here we go again. We are back together, as live can be. Here we go. Hi everybody. Oh, there you are. How are you today? My name is Mr. Duncan. I hope you are happy and I hope you are feeling super duper on this Sunday. We are back together live and my name is Duncan. I talk about the English language. I've been doing this for ever such a long time. Some people say too long. Some people say, Mr. Duncan, isn't it about time that you quit? Please do something else instead of coming onto the internet every Sunday and Wednesday to annoy us. Well, I will be around for a little bit longer. I'm not going anywhere, to be honest, despite the rumours. So English is what we are talking about, and we do it in a nice, happy way. I want to see your smiles today. It's been a very long week. I'm going to be honest with you. It seems like a very long week. First of all, I've been busy doing something. I've been outside filming something that I will be putting onto my YouTube channel next week. So that has kept me busy. I've been, of course, keeping up with my exercises. I've been having lovely long walks. I am now trying to get around between 6 and 10,000 steps every day, which I suppose is about the number you are supposed to have every day. So it is recommended that every day you are supposed to walk for at least 10,000 steps. Although I think, to be fair, on average, I think around 6,000 is reasonable, to be honest. So I am still doing that. I am still eating healthily. Even though yesterday we went into town and Mr. Steve tried to get me to have some cake. We were having a lovely afternoon coffee in one of the local cafes, and Steve says, "Do you want some cake, Duncan?" And I said, "No." And I know why, because Steve wanted to have some cake. And he didn't want to have cake unless I had some. But in the end, Steve had some cake, but I didn't. So I'm being very good. I must say I am very pleased with my progress so far. So I am hoping over the next couple of months, maybe I will lose around 1 stone of weight. Don't ask me to convert that into kilograms or pounds, because I can't. I only know stones, you see, because I'm old. I'm an old chap. So here we go. Yes, we have made it all the way to the end of another weekend, and we are steadily approaching the end of another month as well. I can't believe that it is the 19th today. Is it really the 19th of September? I can't believe it. This month has gone by very quickly. Yes, it's Sunday. game over. Sunday. Wow, these weeks really do fly by. I think so. I think they really do fly by. I don't know what's going on. It seems like this month has gone by very quickly. October is coming just around the corner. We have October just waiting over there. And of course, if you know my channel very well, you will know that October is the month where I celebrate my anniversary on YouTube. So I am coming up to my 15th anniversary. 15 years. It sounds too long, it really does. But yes, it is my 15th year on YouTube. And I'm also hoping this year, maybe, I don't think so, but maybe, perhaps, in my dreams, I am wishing, maybe, I'm not sure, it might not happen. I am hoping to reach 1 million subscribers. Ooh. So we will see what happens there as well. So a busy year for various reasons. I've had a couple of emails and a couple of questions asked about my opinion on what is happening in China at the moment. I don't know why. Whenever anything happens concerning China, there is always at least a couple of people who ask what I think about it, because I lived there for many years. And because of that, I have a kind of insight into the way the Chinese government and I suppose the Chinese people think and behave, because I lived my everyday life there. Well, I suppose it is a strange situation where we have a group of nations who are kind of, not exactly, but they are doing things that could be classed as some sort of warning. So you might say it is a kind of warning. But that's all I'm saying at the moment. It is early days. It is a situation that has only just started, because it was announced last week that there is a kind of pact between Australia, the United States and the United Kingdom, which of course is this country that I'm in. But my feelings at the moment are I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I think about that particular situation. We will have to wait and see what happens. Hello to the live chat. Oh, something very interesting going on here. Oh, now I was expecting Vitas. I was expecting Vitas to be first on the live chat, but it is not. I can't believe it. It is not Vitas. It is in fact Mosen. Hello, Mosen. Nice to see you here today. Congratulations, you are first on today's live chat. I don't know why. I feel as if I'm blinking too much. Am I blinking too much? There is a famous lesson of mine where I talk about the English alphabet. And in that particular video, I don't know why, but in that video I rarely blink. I don't blink very much. And for some strange reason, many people in the comment section below that video, they all say the same thing. Oh my goodness, who is this guy? He doesn't even blink. Is he a robot? So it is my video lesson all about reciting the ABC, the alphabet. And also people saying, Mr. Duncan, you don't say Z. It isn't Z, it's Z. Well, maybe in American English they will pronounce it as Z, but in British English we often say Z as the last letter of the alphabet. So the final letter of the alphabet here is pronounced Z. Z. And in American English, quite often they will say Z. Oh. So you might hear someone in the States say A to Z. But here we will say A to Z. The alphabet. Who else is on the live chat today? Oh, we have Valentin. Hello, Valentin. Nice to see you here as well today. I'm feeling happy. I'm not too bad. I'm okay. I'm feeling fit. And I think that makes a big difference. If you take care of your body, this is not me saying this. This is what other people often tell me. So that's why I've decided to take their advice. If you look after your body, if you take care of your body, then your body will take care of you. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Oh, hello Vitas. Nice to see you here. Unfortunately, there is nothing I can do about the situation. You were not first today, I'm afraid. We also have Asketchum. We have Oim Oim. Hello to you. Bonjour. Jimmy from Hong Kong is here as well. Also we have, Luis Mendez is here today. Hello, Luis. A lot of people were very impressed by your appearance last week in your lovely suit and tie. In fact, I almost wore my suit and tie today, but I decided not to because it's a bit hot in the studio. So no, I'm not going to wear my jacket today. Hello also to Rosa. Hello, Rosa. Nice to see you back as well. Marcia. Also, we have Beatrice and Christina again. Inaki. Hello, Inaki. Nice to see you back also on the live chat. Today we have something a little different. I don't normally devote the whole lesson to one particular subject. But one big subject today we're going to talk about is something that I've received a lot of questions about. A type of English that is spoken, maybe not as much as it used to, but it is often referenced when we talk about the English language. So as you know, there are many different types of accent in the English language. Wherever you go in the country, if you go to the north, the south, the east, the west of this country, you will hear English spoken in many different ways. And I thought today we would have a look at Cockney English. Cockney. A lot of people might not realise what Cockney is. Maybe you've heard it being spoken. Maybe you've heard people use a particular type of speech called rhyming slang. And rhyming slang is something that you use when you are expressing an opinion or a feeling or something. You are saying a word, and instead of using the actual word, you will actually rhyme another word with it. So we will do that a little bit later on. Apparently, we have, Claudia. Hello, Claudia. Nice to see you here. Oh, now apparently last Sunday, Belarusia, Claudia, watching in Argentina, was making some special food. Apparently it was ravioli. Can I say one of my most favourite types of food is pasta? I love ravioli, different types of pasta, lasagna. Wow. And I suppose we can't forget spaghetti as well. So I do like pasta. So apparently that's what Claudia was making last week because it was your brother's birthday last week? I hope you had a good time. I hope everything went as well as possible. Hello also to Fernando. Nice to see you here as well. So many people are here today. Hello also to Monicia. Monicia. I love your name, by the way. Joe. Hello, Joe. Joe says, when you say something, the G is not pronounced. Well, it can be, actually. Who made you the boss of the English language? No one. If you want to say G, if you want to pronounce G at the end of something, you can. You can say something. You can also say something. So yes, it is okay, it is acceptable to use G to actually pronounce G at the end of words such as sing, song, long, something. Oh, so there. But you don't have to. It is not the law. Hello to Palmyra. Oh, hello, Palmyra. Palmyra says something is laid back. I like that expression. If a person is feeling laid back, it means they are feeling relaxed. They are feeling calm. So maybe if you wake up in the morning and you have a lovely mood, you feel relaxed, you might say that you feel laid back. Something that is done in a calm way is laid back. You do something in a laid back way. You might describe a person's character. If a person is always very cool and calm and relaxed, you can describe that person as always being laid back. That Mr. Duncan, he is such a laid back person. Hello also to Alessandra again. Nice to see you back. Also, we have Willianne. Hello, Willianne. I hope you've had a good week. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention today. Do you ever get a certain song stuck in your head? Is there a tune or a song that you can't get out of your head? And this happens to me quite often, and sometimes I think maybe I'm going crazy. I think maybe I'm losing my mind because a piece of music that maybe I hear on the radio or something I've heard on television, or maybe just a song that pops into your head. Maybe something that just suddenly appears for no reason. And for the past couple of days, I've had one particular song playing in my head, going around and around, again and again. So what about you? Is there a song or a tune that is in your head at the moment and you can't get rid of it? It won't go away. Mine is Keane. And Everybody Changes. It's a great song, by the way. So that is a song that keeps playing in my head because I heard it the other day. I was flicking through the internet and I was looking at some songs that I had almost forgotten about. And I played that particular song by a group called Keane. And it's Everything Changes. Everybody changes and I don't feel the same. It's a lovely song. However, unfortunately, I can't get that song out of my head. I woke up this morning and the song was actually playing over and over again in my head. And I also know that Steve has the same problem, which we might talk about in around 5 minutes, because Steve will be joining us. So that is the song that is going around in my head. But what about you? Is there a tune or song that at the moment you can't get out of your head? Another annoying thing is when you remember a song or a piece of music, but you can't remember the name of it. And that's also annoying. In fact, maybe sometimes that is even more annoying than just hearing a song. So if you hear a song and you don't know the name of it, or you've forgotten the name of the song, and you might find yourself lying awake, because it's very hard to find out what a song is called without the title. So it can be very, difficult. Hello also to Mohammed Abbas Raza. Nice to see you here as well on a Sunday. It's a Sunday. It's a fun day. So that's the song I can't get out of my head. Oh, Sandra. I get the feeling that Sandra is a big fan of ABBA. We were talking about ABBA a couple of weeks ago because they have decided to release some new music. I think the last time they produced anything new was it 20 years ago? It was a very long time since ABBA have actually made some new music, and they will also be performing some new concerts. So apparently, according to Sandra, the new song by ABBA is one that you keep hearing again and again and again. Yes, ABBA have made a comeback. Siobhan says, some rap songs that I've listened to many years ago, sometimes they repeat in my mind. Yes, it can be. It can be very annoying. I think it's harder when you hear a piece of music in your head, but you can't remember the song or the name or even the artist. So that can be very difficult. Hello, Mr. Duncan. I love your lesson so much. It is really helpful for me to improve my accent. Hello, Anastasia. Nice to see you here today. Thank you very much for joining me. So we will find out if there is a song or a tune that is inside Mr. Steve's head. Maybe something that he can't forget about. I was in the garden yesterday and I noticed something really funny. You might not realise this, but sometimes when you are watching certain insects in your garden, you might see them behaving in a very strange way. For example, this particular insect. So this is a bumblebee, and as you can see, it is collecting nectar from one of my plants in the garden. But if you look very closely, you can see that this particular insect has stopped moving. It almost looks like it's dead, but it isn't. This little bumblebee is actually now drunk. It is sitting there now and it's unable to move because it has consumed so much nectar. It's been gathering all of the pollen and the nectar and it is drunk. So that's the reason why this bumblebee is not moving. Quite often they will collect so much food that they actually tire themselves out. So that is what is happening on your screen right now with that particular insect. It is a very strange occurrence. But when you see bees gathering honey or trying to find something in the plant that it can use, sometimes it becomes intoxicated. We call this particular thing a stupor. So a person might fall into a stupor. They become drowsy. They can't move. Quite often I find myself falling into a stupor. Normally around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I might suddenly feel tired. But even insects, even tiny insects, like this particular insect, even this little insect can consume far too much food, and it's sitting there and now it's completely worn out. It is literally drunk. And yes, it does happen. It definitely happens. We have Mr. Steve coming soon. We are talking about Cockney rhyming slang today, and I'm sure Steve has other things that he wants to talk about. I've decided today to be good. I've decided to be a good person, a kind person, and I'm going to be very nice to Mr. Steve. So whatever Steve says today on the live chat, when he's talking to you and also to me, whatever Mr. Steve says, whatever he says, whatever his opinion is, I will agree with it. I will not argue. I will not shake my head. I will not put my hand over his mouth. I won't do anything like that today. So I'm not going to be unfair to Steve today. I've decided. Just for this week. Not every week, just today. So Mr. Steve will be here soon, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to have a look at a video that I shot way back in 2013, 8 years ago. Does anyone remember my special series of lessons that I did during October 2013? Well, this is a very special video in the garden, and there is something that I'm going to show you as well in the video. It also happens to be something we are going to be talking to Mr. Steve about in around about 5 minutes from now. Mr. Steve is on his way. Don't go away. We have lots more stuff, plenty of English still to come for you English addicts. Here I am out in my garden this morning because it is a glorious morning here in Much Wenlock. I am in my garden, and just behind my house you can see here. Look, there are some sheep having a little sleep because they have been very busy all morning, chewing away and grazing on the field over there. Good morning, sheep. Morning. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. I have received quite a few messages concerning my damson jam. I think I am going to have to start selling my damson jam on the internet because it seems very popular. Okay, I have a confession to make. I did not make the damson jam. It has nothing to do with me whatsoever. So I cannot claim responsibility for the damson jam. In fact, it's Mr. Steve. He's the one that's gone a little bit crazy over it. So he's very excited at the moment because he is making tons of damson jam. The tree is right here. The damson tree is right here. In fact, if I go down to the ground here, look, lots and lots of damsons. Quite a few have fallen on the floor, so I think those have gone a bit bad. Ugh. Anyway, if you would like some of my damson jam, please send your address and I will post a slice of bread with some damson jam on it. Although by the time it gets to you, it might be a little bit sticky. Anyway, let's get on with today's lesson. What are we going to look at today? Would you like to see some sheep? Would you like to see some birds? Would you like to see some shots of my damson tree? I think you would. This particular flock of sheep have been grazing in this field for just a couple of weeks. Earlier in the year there were some ewes in this field, along with their newborn lambs. A ewe is a female sheep. It is common for the male and female sheep to graze separately in different fields. Lambs tend to be born in springtime, although this is not always the case, as some can be born in early to midsummer as well. Sheep mainly eat grass. They make a great addition to any field, as they help to keep everything neat and the grass stays low. I get so many birds coming into my garden here in Much Wenlock, especially during the nesting season. Right now, the most common birds in my garden are blue tits, great tits, and long-tail tits. Look at their lovely long tails, so cute. Another popular visitor to my garden is of course the all-familiar robin, with its bright red breast. And of course the wood pigeon. The damson tree, which everyone is so excited about right now. This tree has produced a very large number of damsons this year. As I have already mentioned this week, damsons make very good jam. It is very easy to make jam. You just boil the fruit with some sugar and a little water until the mixture is all hot and squishy. Then you strain the liquid to remove the stones. You then place the warm liquid into jars and wait for the jam to cool off and set. When something has set, it has gone solid. The word set has many definitions. As you can see, the leaves are already beginning to fall. Autumn is once more on the way. It sure is. Autumn is just around the corner as we head towards October. I can't believe it. Oh, by the way, talking of damsons, a certain person today will be making some damson jam. Can you guess who it is? I will give you a clue. He's standing right next to me at this very moment. There he is.
Hello, Mr. Duncan. Hello, everyone out there.
It's Mr. Steve.
Actually, I won't be making damson jam today.
Oh,
I'll tell you why. Because they're not quite ripe yet.
okay.
I went out this morning in my underpants and felt the damsons to see if they were soft enough.
Are you sure that's what you were feeling?
Yes. And some of them are ripe, but they're not quite ready. So I think maybe another few days, maybe another week. So that's one less job for me to have to do today.
Well, you must be pleased about that.
But at least watching the video has refreshed my memory of how to make the jam.
Well, guess what? This morning I went outside and I actually took some shots of the damson tree as it is now. So here it is. So this is the damson tree at the moment, what it looks like. Now this year we did something quite unusual with this tree. We actually cut it back because it was getting a bit crazy. The tree was getting out of hand.
It was causing too much shade.
Yes.
It was too close to the house, so I'm afraid I had to get somebody round to give it a good pruning.
Yes.
Because I couldn't do it because it meant I had to climb up ladders and it was all a bit dangerous.
So there they are.
There they are, yes. They're not quite ripe.
Oh, but they are waiting.
They're waiting.
What Mr. Steve is going to do, he will, when they're ready, he will pick them off and he will boil them and he will add sugar to them as well. And he will make some jam, some damson jam. So not as many this week, but yes, you can see them close up. They are a little bit like small plums, or maybe you could say that they are large grapes.
Yes, they're somewhere in between.
It's a very strange one to describe.
Yes, they're smaller than plums. I think they're a type of plum. They remind me a little of prunes. Which of course I'm consuming a lot of these days. In fact, prunes from France. French prunes. They've got, Lewis will probably know about that. France are known for its prunes, amongst other things. That's one of them, and you get the best quality prunes from France. So I believe, and I'm consuming at least 10 a day. I won't tell you why. I think everyone knows what prunes are for. They do work.
Yes, prunes are very good if you have a bad stomach. If your stomach is stubborn, I think that's a good word to use. Stubborn.
Yes.
So maybe you have difficulty going to the toilet, and you can take some prunes.
Yes.
Maybe also, perhaps damsons have the same effect.
Well,
I've just been told off because I'm
why?
keeping fit at the moment. I'm trying to keep fit. I won't be consuming any jam of Mr. Steve's because I'm not very keen on damson jam. I find it a little bit sour. But your mum loves it.
It's an acquired taste.
Yes.
It's not as sweet as normal plums, but it goes with certain things. And somebody said earlier, Palmyra, damson jam on pancakes.
Oh.
It does go with certain things better. It's very nice in yogurt as well, but just on white bread, it's not to everybody's taste. Damsons are an acquired taste, which means that not everybody likes them, and it might take you a few times before you might think, not quite sure.
It's a bit like Marmite.
And of course, I put a lot less sugar in, Mr. Duncan, so it should be better for you. Whatever the recipe is for the sugar in the jam, I put probably a third less. So should be quite healthy.
Oh.
And damson, fruit is good for you, Mr. Duncan.
Yes.
You can't cut out on all the healthy things like fruit.
Well, I've already lost a bit of weight.
Have you?
Yes, I've already lost. Not much, because I've only really been doing it for about 14 days. So not very long. You don't lose much weight in 2 weeks. It does take a while for your body to adjust to your new way of living, or your new lifestyle. We had a very nice surprise this week. We had a lovely surprise, a very interesting surprise in the garden at the back of the house. Here they are. They're back, baby.
Oh, yes.
The sheep have returned, and this is something I filmed this morning. So here they are this morning. As the sun was rising, I was in the garden filming the sheep, and yes, they are back. But not only that, we also have the cows as well at the back. So at the moment, the field at the back of the house is being shared by the sheep and the cows. So imagine our surprise a couple of days ago when suddenly, and I must admit, I thought I was hallucinating. I thought maybe I was having a funny turn. But yes, they are there, they are back. The sheep have returned to the garden. They are back looking lovely, and I suppose they are my favourite type of sheep. They are the ones with the little black heads. They're lovely. They're very nice. And there are some more chewing the grass.
It's interesting that they just don't you would think that cows and sheep in a field, would they get along together?
Yeah.
It seems that they do, presumably because obviously they're both eating grass. But we haven't seen any interaction between them. Yes, they are big sheep.
Yes. What I've noticed as well, Steve, is they often keep their distance away from each other.
Yes.
So I haven't seen the cows and the sheep together, mingling. Oh, I like that word, by the way, mingle. If you mingle, it means you mix in a group. So maybe if you have two groups of things that are not the same, two separate groups, they will join together. They will move amongst each other. You mingle.
If you were to go to a party, for example,
Yep.
and instead of just staying with the people that you know, you might mingle. You might go off and speak to people you don't know or have never seen before. And if you are the host of a party, then it's essential that you mingle with all the guests. So you go around and you talk to everybody. So if you go to a party, do you just stick with the people you know? Oh, I'm too frightened to speak to anyone. Who are those people over there? Oh, they've got strange hairstyles. Or do you go out and talk to other people and just widen your circle of friends and influences and opinions?
Yeah.
But yes, exactly. Right. Mr. Duncan, yes.
Earlier on, I was talking about something that's been bothering me for the last 24 hours. It's a song that I can't get out of my head. And I have a feeling that you have the same problem sometimes, Steve. There is a great expression, actually. You can describe something as an earworm. An earworm is maybe a piece of music or something you keep hearing in your mind again and again, and you can't make it go away. So it's a great expression, and we say that you have an earworm.
Right now, as we're on the live stream, I have a tune going round and round in my head. A lot of people I've noticed have said that they suffer. Well, suffer, I don't know if it's the right word. It can get annoying if you cannot get a tune out of your head, because it's not good for concentrating. And I mean, I'm aware now that, part of my processor is this tune is going over and over again in my mind because I listened to it about an hour ago. And it can be annoying, particularly when you go to bed. And I've got this annoying habit of wanting to get the tune exactly right in my head. So I keep listening to it, and when I'm replaying it, I've got to try and get it exactly with all the different instruments and everything. It's quite stressful. I find it quite stressful, but it's like, I mean, it can keep you going.
So what's the song?
Oh, it's because I've been listening a lot to James Last.
Oh dear.
And his orchestra. Then it's various tunes, various melodies, songs that he's been playing that I've got on my computer.
James Last music always reminds me a little bit of if you're in an elevator or a lift and you go in there and there's always a little bit of music playing in the background. Not loudly, but it's there, just trying to relax the people going up and down in the lift. and I always think James Last music sounds a little bit like music you would hear in a lift or in a supermarket.
It's very catchy, though. It's very catchy, and I can't get it out of my head. I've got to keep, where do the trumpets come in? What exactly are they doing? I've got to get it exactly right so that when I listen to it, for real, I've got all the rhythms, and I know when the different instruments are coming in, and when if the singers sometimes. I like doing that sort of thing. A lot of people saying about the sheep didn't know that cows and sheep can be in the same field together. Yes, they do get on.
They get along, but I think they always stay apart. They don't go too close to each other.
Yes, and oim oim, why sheep in England haven't homes? Well, they don't really have. They just wander around in wild fields, just eating grass. That's all they do.
Actually, I think they said horns.
Oh, right.
They don't have horns.
Oh, horns, you're right, yes. Well, they cut them off.
Yes. Well, the
farmers cut them off.
That's it. Some sheep can. Male rams, of course. So you have rams. They are male sheep. They often have horns. Sometimes the horns are straight and sometimes they are curly. They grow at the side of their heads.
I wonder, do the female sheep have horns? I think they can do.
Well, cows also can have horns. So certain breeds of cow can actually have horns, even the females.
But I think I think there are some breeds of sheep that don't have horns, and we don't. They are the ones we tend to have in the UK. But certainly with cows, as you say, and some of the rams of the male sheep, the farmers will cut the horns off because in the UK a lot of farmland has open access to the public, So there are public footpaths that go through most farmland in the UK. That's just the law. You're allowed to have access as long as you stick to a path. And obviously you don't want people being gored
Or attacked.
and attacked by cows and sheep. Well, the sheep wouldn't attack you anyway.
No.
But the
sheep-
cows might.
The sheep are too scared. They just run away.
But yeah, sheep. But anyway, yeah, that's getting into. We've got a few new. Flower Espoir.
Hello, Flower. Welcome back.
Welcome back. And we've got somebody called Osnur. Osnur. Sorry if I've pronounced your name correctly. First time on today.
Ooh.
So welcome.
What, the
if you're still
first
here.
the first time ever?
Yes, that's what. Yeah, that's what I've got here from the live chat. Because people were saying, "Are you new?" And this person said, "Yes, I am." So welcome.
Tom Rocks asks a very interesting question. Yes, of course, it is 2021, and everyone on YouTube, if you are a publisher who's been on YouTube for many years, you might notice that things are not as easy as they used to be. And I suppose as a way of making extra money, a lot of YouTube celebrities are now selling merchandise. When we say merchandise, we mean things that you are selling, and quite often they are related to your own channel or your brand. But I don't have any merchandise. I don't sell any merchandise. I don't have Mr. Duncan pencils or pens or dictionaries. A lot of people keep asking, Mr. Duncan, why don't you write a book about your experiences of teaching English in China? A lot of people have said that, and I suppose I could, but would anyone read it? Would anyone be interested in my own experiences? Probably not.
It might have been 10 years ago.
Well, I think, China is now becoming a hot topic again.
Well, it is, yes.
So it's coming around, you see. A lot of people suddenly are their eyes are what on China. The world is watching for various reasons.
Maybe
Not only Hong Kong, but also Taiwan, which is something you're not even allowed to mention in China. That's one of the things I remember when I first arrived in China. I was given lots of rules that I had to stick to, and I could never break those rules. And one of them was mentioning Taiwan. I could not talk about it to anyone, mention it, discuss it. The other one was Tibet. So I couldn't mention Tibet, and I couldn't talk about Taiwan. I couldn't mention, what's the other thing? Well, politics, basically.
Tiananmen Square.
Tiananmen Square is a good
that
one.
was another one.
It seems to be everything beginning with T.
Well,
Tiananmen Square, Tibet, Taiwan, and tight trousers.
well, I mean, Lewis will know where but we're upset. We've upset the French, haven't we, this week as well?
Well, we haven't.
Lewis, not us.
No, not us.
The UK.
I love the French.
Well, I think it's mainly Australians have upset, and the Americans and us, because there's this little pact, isn't there, that's been developed, and it's all to do with submarines, I'm sure. But there's been some very sort of sabre rattling going on, and some interesting comments made by French politicians this week. So I mean, Lewis might be able to give us his take on it, on what's going on. But
it's just because. Well, I think France are a little bit
miffed,
cheesed off. They're a bit annoyed because of course the thing is, France had signed this amazing deal with Australia to buy lots of nuclear submarines.
Well,
and then
the
United States, the UK, and Australia have decided to join together and supply submarines to Australia, and so Australia has cancelled the order. And I could imagine. I think I would be a little annoyed, to be honest, if I was.
They'd have given them some warning.
If I was going to sell some nuclear submarines, I don't have any, by the way.
Mind you, they were going to make diesel submarines.
Okay.
I mean, if I was buying a submarine, I don't think I'd want a diesel one.
No,
would you?
I wouldn't want a diesel.
I'd go nuclear.
Or a solar panel, a solar powered submarine.
I don't know much about submarines, and we better not get into it.
Or wind power.
Yes.
You definitely need nuclear. If you're going under the sea to lots and lots of fathoms below the sea, you definitely need something that will not break down. Because I don't think there's anything worse than being in a submarine stuck at the bottom of the ocean because you've run out of petrol or diesel.
I'm sure you can fill up somewhere. They must have filling stations, in the ocean somewhere. Have we got wolves?
You could get an octopus to tow you away.
Have we got wolves in the UK? Somebody asks. No, we haven't. We haven't actually. So the sheep are quite safe, apart from dog walkers who let their dogs off the lead, and the dogs do kill the sheep, and it has happened at the back of us. So dogs will attack the sheep. But sheep really don't have much to be afraid of in the UK because it's only dog walkers. And, not many sheep get killed. I think baby sheep can be killed by predatory birds when they're very small. I think that can happen. But
Don't forget foxes.
Foxes, of course.
So we have foxes. But again, they only tend to go for small animals, chickens, things like that, small birds, small animals. So no, we don't have any what I would describe as canine predators. Would that be a good description?
Yes, we don't have those kind of animals. They were all killed off. We don't have bears and boars. They were all killed off hundreds of years ago. Yes. But yes, foxes are controlled. When I say controlled, they're exterminated to keep the numbers down because they will attack baby sheep. So yeah, lambs. They'll attack the lambs definitely.
If you want to see canine predators, you would go somewhere like the United States, where they have wolves. You can hear them at night howling. Shall I do my impression of a wolf? Here we go. Ow, ow.
Mr. Duncan, the sheep have all run off. And that's just because of the bad impersonation.
Did you enjoy my wolf impression? And also coyotes as well.
Yes.
Coyotes are a type of dog, much smaller. But yes, prairie dogs. I think that's a different type of canine.
We don't have wild dogs, anything like that. The nearest sort of, it's foxes is the nearest we've got to any kind of wild animal that would kill sheep. That's all we've got here. We killed them all off hundreds of years ago.
So no, we don't have wolves here. No wolves,
wolves.
No hyenas, no tigers, no lions, no cheetahs, no panthers.
People have commented to us before about walking through the woods when you're doing your filming. That isn't it dangerous? Not in the UK because we don't have any animals that will attack you.
The biggest problem
in the forest.
The biggest problem are idiots with dogs.
Yes,
that's it. So it's not necessarily the dogs. The dogs aren't the problem. It's the stupid owners who let them off their leads. You see, they don't control their dogs, so they can be a real pain in the neck. In a few moments, we are going to talk about Cockney rhyming slang.
All right.
All right, Governor. All right, Governor. All right, Governor.
How are you, Mr. Duncan? You all right, are you?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
So that technically isn't Cockney. So that's actually an East End accent. What we are going to talk about is a special language, Cockney rhyming slang. We will be talking all about that in
Cockney rhyming slang?
Yes. For example. Oh, was that it?
Well, you've prepared the lesson, Mr. Duncan.
Well, I suppose a good example would be trouble in strife. The trouble in strife, your trouble and strife is your wife. So that is how Cockney rhyming slang works. You take a word and then you create a sentence or a short phrase that rhymes with that word. It's a specialised type of language, still used, And you might be surprised, Steve, how many words from Cockney rhyming slang we still use now in English. Generally, you might be surprised to find out.
Yes, in case people don't realise, the London accent is a very strong accent and it's very difficult for people to understand, as is accents in generally in the UK for people to understand. So we're speaking the Queen's English, proper sort of standard English, you would say.
Yes.
Whereas, many parts of the UK have their own accents, as I'm sure they do in your country, where words are pronounced slightly differently, groups of letters are pronounced differently.
See, what I would say is, well, it's worth remembering that no one speaks perfect English, really. So you might say the Queen of England, but that is a type of received pronunciation. You are being very precise. The thing that is always worth remembering, there is only one English language. Whatever people tell you, if people say, oh no, there's not one English language, there's 3 or 4. No, there isn't. There's only one English language, but the difference comes with the accent. Remember, one English language, many English accents.
Christina VI has been living in London, in East Ham. So no doubt you have been exposed to the Cockney accent or the London accent, I would say.
Yeah.
So you can probably tell us.
And what's also interesting is you can hear different types of accent spoken in London. So if you go to the East End of London, the accent there is very strong, but also you might go to another part of London and hear a very different accent, but it is still a London accent. So even within the area of London, so we're not talking about the whole UK, we're just talking about London, you can hear different types of Cockney accent, or maybe accents that would be described as London-based. Quite interesting.
Well, Andrew has given us an example of Cockney rhyming slang.
Oh.
Loaf of bread, head.
Yes, that's a good one. So but that is also used in general English. So you might tell a person, if they're acting very stupid, you might say, oh, come on, think about what you're doing. Use your loaf. You must use your loaf. So that is actually a phrase that we use in English generally. So it's not just in Cockney English or Cockney rhyming slang. It's actually made its way into normal English. So you use your loaf.
Use your loaf, which is obviously a shortened version of the Cockney rhyming slang. Use your loaf of bread. Head.
That's right. In fact, even in Cockney rhyming slang, you will find that people will shorten the actual slang to just a single word. So I suppose this is a good opportunity, Steve, to take a look.
Some more examples. Just to reiterate, Cockney is a part of London, isn't it?
Oh no,
it's where it's what people identify as, and they say if you're Cockney, you have to have been born in a certain part of London.
That's it. I'm actually going to explain that in a second.
Good. I didn't know that.
Yes. That's what I was just building up to. Here we go then.
All right,
Governor. It's time to take a look with our mince pies at some Cockney rhyming slang. And there is Mr. Duncan, that's me, and Mr. Steve. We are dressed up in our lovely suits. We look
at that.
We look as if we should be standing in the old Kent Road with some winkles.
So what is that, Mr. Duncan? What is that particular mode of dress?
I'm just about to get to that. I said I would be patient with Steve today.
I just get on with it, Mr. Duncan.
Here we go then, Cockney. So generally speaking, Cockney is a person born within the range of the Bow Bells in London. So there is a church and it rings out from its bell tower And if you can hear the Bow Bells, that means you are a genuine Cockney. An East End person might be described as a Cockney. So the East End of London might mean that you are automatically described as a Cockney. But a person born within the range of the Bow Bells is the exact definition of a Cockney, a person who is a full born and bred Cockney. And if you look at the outfits, if you look at the clothing that we're wearing there, that also has special significance. So we are dressed as pearly kings, but also women can dress like this as well, and they are referred to as pearly queens. So pearly queens or pearly kings. Pearly kings and queens.
Well, we're both queens, obviously.
So this relates to a charitable organisation set up by a group of working class people a long time ago. The wearing of clothes covered in mother of pearl began in the late 1800s as a way of attracting attention whilst collecting money for charity. So people that dress like this are actually people who are a member. They are members of a charitable organisation, and each location in London has its own special group of pearly kings and queens. And you can see the clothing that we are wearing there. That is a good example of what they call pearly. So that is the general term for anyone who walks around the streets of London, maybe collecting money for charity, or they just want to get lots of attention.
Yes, mother of pearl is quite what used to be quite sought after. I think does it come from a mollusk?
I think it's the inner lining of the shell.
The shell of maybe some kind of mollusk, maybe an oyster or something like that. But it's got these lovely shiny sort of bluish, greenish sort of. It catches the light.
Yes, it's actually the lining of the shell.
I think it is.
So when you open a clam, inside you might find the pearl, the expensive thing, but the lining of the shell has also a very interesting texture, and that particular thing is mother of pearl.
Yes, it's probably some kind of mollusk, wherever you get pearls from, which is it oysters? So probably yes. And it's you can make bracelets, necklaces out of it, and you can also obviously put it all over that that lovely uniform, which we've got loads of them in our wardrobe.
Mother of pearl. It is a type of material. You can also use it for buttons as well. You might see buttons, or sometimes on a person's watch as well. The face of their watch might be mother of pearl. It's an interesting thing. So we are going to look at some Cockney rhyming slang, Mr. Steve. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show some Cockney rhyming slang words. I'm sure you know what's coming next. What you have to do is guess what it means. So you can also have a guess as well. You can join in. It's not just for Mr. Steve, but it's also for you as well. If you want to join in and try to guess what the Cockney rhyming slang terms mean. And it is important because a lot of these terms or words are actually used in general English as well, which I find amazing, really, when you think about it. So certain words from Cockney rhyming slang have actually become used in general English. So that is something we are going to look at right now. And there we're back. Oh, I have to say, Steve, you look amazing in your lovely pearly king.
It's amazing. We blew all the budget for this English lesson on those jackets.
Yes. Can you imagine, Steve, us walking around Much Wenlock dressed like that? Do you think people would care?
I know. Yes, Christina, thanks for that explanation of mother of pearl. Yeah, that's it. It's where the calcium carbonate, the calcium in the shell, forms around something, and as a seed. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, and it creates these beautiful colours. But yes, all right, Mr. Duncan, carry on.
It's not as expensive as the actual pearls.
Well, I presume because, of course, Londoners traditionally used to eat a lot of mollusks. It's a common thing for Londoners to eat clams and things like that, and oysters. Then they must have had a lot of these shells left over.
Disgusting.
And thus are able to decorate their jackets in mother of pearl.
Yes. So here we go. Then we're going to look at some Cockney rhyming slang now before we get distracted again. Here we go. Here is the first one, and I'm going to just put it on the screen, and then all you have to do is tell me what it is, not you, Steve, straight away. So we will get some guesses on the screen, and here they are, coming up now. Here is the first one for you. What is it? It is Cockney rhyming slang. Oh. Apples and pears.
Apples and pears.
Apples and pears. Apples and pears. Maybe at night you might have to do this certain thing. At night.
Really?
Yeah.
So what rhymes with apples and pears?
So we are looking at Cockney rhyming slang. Words and phrases that have an origin in one word, and they just happen to rhyme together. Cockney rhyming slang, apples and pears, apples and pears. What does it mean?
Apples and pears.
Ask Ketchum, and also
Yes.
Jimmy from Hong Kong. Also, yes. Pretty good. I like that.
down.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yes, Inaki, the jackets, by the way, are Mr. Duncan's been very clever. They're not actual jackets that we've hired or bought. Mr. Duncan's been very clever with the computer there. So I don't want people to think that we've spent a lot of money on jackets just for that.
Do you really? But do you really think that's real? I mean, that's Photoshop. I photoshopped those.
Well,
I'm sure people realise.
no, maybe not, because you're so good at doing the Photoshop.
I think.
Is that the phrase? Is that the technical term?
I think they
Photoshop.
They might be joking.
I'm not sure, but anyway.
They might be joking. Okay, so the answer to that one, Steve, apples and pears is stairs. So that is the first one. So if you go up the apples and pears, you go up the stairs. You need to go upstairs. I'm going to go up the apple and pears.
Cool, blimey, Mr. Duncan. I'm really tired from all this live streaming. I'm going up the apples and pears.
Yes. What accent is that?
Yeah, well, it's sort of supposed to be some kind of, London accent,
Okay. we have a TV show, by the way, a TV show
Do we?
here in the UK.
Oh, it meant you and me.
We have a TV show called EastEnders. It's made by the BBC, and it's the most depressing television programme.
It's a soap opera.
Yes, it's the most depressing television programme. It's a drama, and it's been running since the early 1980s.
Soap opera.
Yes, I think you just said that.
Yes.
It's
Calling it drama is...
Well, it is described as a drama.
You know what a soap opera is.
Yes. Well, a programme that just runs and runs. And the reason why they call it a soap opera is because originally, the original programmes were actually sponsored by companies that made soap. Did you know that? That's why we call them soap operas. But EastEnders is set, the location is London, and there are lots of Cockneys in EastEnders.
Yes.
But it also happens to be a very depressing programme. There is always fighting and people being killed or blackmailed And there is always, at the moment, there is one character who has discovered that their baby, or maybe a friend's baby, is not theirs. It's by another person or from another person. So that happens a lot in soap operas and dramas.
All the soap. Yeah, it's just they've got to get people watching it. So there's got to be drama, people having affairs, people being murdered, people getting depressed, people having babies. I mean, there's a soap opera going on at the moment where I don't know which one it is.
Oh, good.
Is it Coronation Street? That's another one where there's going to be some dramatic, massive explosion or something, some huge drama to get people interested. Wasn't there a big tram? Something, I don't know, but they've got to get people watching, haven't they, to get the ratings up.
That's some good information there, Steve.
Yeah, so that's good. Apples and pears stairs.
Apples and pears up the old stairs, going to bed. Here we go again. Here's another one, Steve.
So if you watch EastEnders, you
Okay.
will be able to hear the Cockney accent. So
Yes.
if you were to go onto YouTube and put EastEnders, well, just put Cockney accent,
Yes.
and you'll get an idea of why we sometimes are doing this funny accent.
Yes.
Right. Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve. Now, that for those worrying, those aren't our real names. so those don't relate to our actual names. So my name isn't really Adam, and Steve's name isn't really Eve. Although that would be quite good, actually. I think maybe we should change our names to
Adam and Eve.
No, I was going to say Adam and Steve. See, that would be good, wouldn't it? Because then
Haven't you just given the answer
No,
away?
no.
Okay.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Why would I do that? Adam and Eve. This is another one. Oh, Shirin. Very fast.
Oh, right.
Shirin has a very fast finger.
Oh, right, yes.
I don't know why I'm doing the action with my finger because I'm not even on screen.
Oh, there's been something going on with Sergio while we've been talking.
Okay.
Not quite sure what, but it's all been kicking off.
Okay, Steve. That's
Right.
kind of going away from the lesson. Adam and Eve. Well, we've had correct answers already. I can't believe that's amazing.
Is it amazing, though?
Yes. Well,
I mean, there is Google.
Okay, Steve. Believe. Would you Adam and Eve it? Would you Adam and Eve it?
Would you effing Adam and believe it?
What? But no, that isn't it.
You would swear
You wouldn't
in
say
there.
you wouldn't say Adam and believe it.
I didn't say that.
You did.
I didn't.
You said Adam and believe.
I didn't.
You
I
did.
said,
We'll watch that later.
I said, would you
Steve.
Adam and Eve it?
No, you didn't. You said Adam believe it. Adam and believe it. Would you Adam and Eve it? Would you believe it? Believe.
If only the moderators could get rid of Mr. Duncan sometimes and leave the show all to me.
Here we go then. Here's another one. Oh, now this is one that has crept into general use. Alligator. Alligator.
Or as the Cockneys would probably pronounce it, alligator.
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 Alligator. Yeah. Alligator.
See, basically, Cockney is just an easy way to speak without pronouncing all the different letters,
Yes.
which, of course, is the case with a lot of accents.
That's it.
It's just a way of making it easier to speak without wrapping your teeth and your lips around every little syllable and pronouncing it correctly.
Yes. Alligator. So this is Cockney rhyming slang, but when would you use it? Well, in fact, we use it also in general English as well. Christina. Oh, Christina, well done.
Where are we here? I can't see that. Where's Christina?
Christina?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, well done. Yes. So we've got at least one correct answer. We do have 30 of these.
Good grief.
So
See you later.
Yeah. So alligator. See you later. See you later, alligator. So alligator means see you later. So instead of saying see you later, they might just say alligator.
And
That's
that means
that's it.
So sometimes it's used as a quick way of saying what you want to say without saying the whole word, which feeds into my original comment I made about the accent sort of making it easier to say. Not only are they pronouncing the words in a way that is easier to pronounce, they're also missing out whole words from sentences as well.
Well, that's a form of abbreviation. So that's the reason why they do it. Alligator. Alligator.
See you later, alligator.
Yeah. Well, they don't even say that. They don't say see you later.
I know, I'm just saying.
They will just go alligator. That's it. Alligator. Alligator. See you later.
People are talking about Harry Potter.
Harry,
Palmyra is talking about Harry Potter,
you're a wizard.
which is how you would pronounce Harry Potter.
Okay.
If you were a Cockney, you wouldn't say Harry Potter. You would say Harry Potter.
Yes. I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm just,
See. Yes. You're a wizard, Harry. Do you like that? Do you like my high grid impression? So here's another one. Oh, interesting. Apple cider. Apple cider.
apple cider.
Apple cider. There's a bit of apple cider. But it doesn't mean apple cider. It means something else because it is Cockney rhyming slang.
And Sketchum has given us maybe another one that you might have that on yours. We'll have to get through these quickly if you've got 30, Mr. Duncan.
Well, we've still got 40 minutes.
Okay. Yes. Oh, Snew Earth says I've got to visit Milan soon.
Okay.
As you do.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
it's a lovely place.
We would love to go to Milan.
It's not London. Apple cider. Anyone?
Jimmy's got it, I think.
Oh, Jimmy. Jimmy from Hong Kong has got it right.
Right.
You are not wrong. Jimmy from Hong Kong. Here it is then. Well done. The answer is spider. Apple cider. I got some apple cider. I got an apple spider. Apple cider, you see. Spider cider. Or you might just say there's an apple on the ceiling. I got an apple on the ceiling. So they might shorten it just to apple because they know that apple cider means spider. So even with Cockney rhyming slang, they will often abbreviate their own words. I've got an apple. I've got to get rid of it. I'm a bit scared of apples. Apple cider. I'm afraid of spiders.
Renata says I've got to go now and says see you later, alligator.
Yes, that's what we say.
Yeah,
See you later.
Thank you very much. That's very good, very good. Of course, we're teaching people bad habits with all this Cockney
Well, not really.
language.
If it exists, you can teach it. That's what I say. If it exists in the world, then you can teach that thing, especially with languages, even rude ones. There are some rude Cockney rhyming slang terms. A good example, Barclays Bank. I'm not going to don't say
I'm not going to say anything, Mr. Duncan. I just think you're being very rude.
Barclays Bank. Barclays Bank is a well-known branch of banking in this country. So it is a company that is a bank, but it's also Cockney rhyming slang. If you go off for a Barclays Bank, or maybe the Barclays, they will just say Barclays. I went into my mother once came into my room and caught me having a Barclays. You see?
Well done, Mr. Duncan.
Here's another one. I like to lower the tone sometimes. Here's another one, Steve. Are you ready? Arthur Ashe. I need a bit of Arthur. I'm short of Arthur.
Arthur.
I need a bit of Arthur.
Arthur Ashe.
Arthur Ashe.
Arthur. Because the TH would be pronounced like an F
Arthur.
in London.
Arthur
It's in the
Ashe.
middle of a word.
Arthur Ashe. It's well-known Cockney rhyming slang.
Arthur Ashe.
Arthur Ashe is something that we use in Cockney rhyming slang if we are short of something. Maybe there is something that you need, but you don't have enough of it. You want more of it. It's something that you don't have much of. It's something that you wish you had more.
Oh, I think Shirin's got it. And Tomek.
Oh, Tomek.
Hello, Tomek.
Hello, Tomek.
Shirin.
Tomek has just woken up.
No, Tomek was here. He's been making comments.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, just a little joke there. No, Palmyra. The Barclays is definitely not a cigarette.
We'll let somebody Google that one.
Yes, here we go then. So,
Svetlana, yes, also got it correctly.
Arthur Ashe
And Jimmy.
is cash. You have money. So, cash is another way of saying money. So, if you need a bit of Arthur, it means you need some Arthur Ashe. Cash. I'm short of, I need some Arthur.
Arthur Ashe.
Can you lend me some Arthur?
Well, I think they wouldn't shorten it again, would they?
Yes, I've just literally explained that they do shorten the Cockney rhyming.
And maybe this Cockney rhyming slang. I mean, I don't know, but why was it developed, Mr. Duncan? Is it so that people can have conversations amongst each other and other people don't understand what they're saying? Maybe.
No, I know what
Maybe
you're saying
it's a
there.
code.
So you're saying a little bit like Polari. So Polari was a unique language that was created by homosexuals before being gay was legalised.
Nobody uses that word anymore, Mr. Duncan.
What? Okay. What? No one says homosexual anymore.
I don't think so. I don't think you use that word to describe people anymore.
Yes, I think you do, Steve.
I don't think. No, I think it's no.
Well, what do you...
Well, I mean, scientifically you would, but I don't think in general conversation.
Yes.
You do anymore.
Okay, I don't know. I'm not sure what your argument is, but gay people. So before it was legalised in 1967, before that you could go to prison. So we could be in prison now. Actually, it doesn't sound such a bad thing, really. few weeks behind bars.
This is funny. There's another description for Arthur Ashe, by the way. It could be. Sorry. What was the one you just put up? What we were doing? The Cockney rhyming slang, the one that we just had up there before.
Arthur Ashe.
Arthur Ashe, yes. Could be Arthur Ashe cash, but it could be Arthur Ashe hash.
Ah, like the illegal drug.
But is it illegal? I don't know.
Anyway,
Arthur Ashe hash.
Steve, we've got to stay on one subject.
This is the subject.
I was talking about why Cockney exists. Cockney just developed over time because of people living in a certain area or community. But it wasn't really used to do something in secret. It wasn't a secretive language. However, Polari is another language that was created for people who, at that time, were doing something that was illegal. It was being gay, you see. It was illegal in this country and many places around the world. You went to prison. You had to share a cell with 4 or 5 men in close proximity. That was your punishment.
Yeah.
They're really not... do they realise you're not actually curing or stopping anything there? You're probably just encouraging it.
That's just sharing a prison cell with a...
So Polari, can you imagine me in prison? I would be currency. I would be passed around like...
Maybe 30 years ago.
Thanks, Steve. I needed that.
Right, what's the next one, Mr. Duncan?
So Polari is a secret language, but Cockney isn't. So to actually correct you, Steve, Cockney wasn't a secret language.
I just posed that as a question,
Yes.
Mr. Duncan.
And I answered it.
And, well, how do you know it's right?
Because One of us knows something about English.
Well, only because you've looked it up before we came on.
Arthur Ashe is cash.
Or hash.
Well, I knew that anyway. Here's another one, Steve. Another. See,
You've got to be careful there.
I am
If you
being.
went to London and said, "Oh, got any Arthur Ashe? I'm a bit short of. Where do I find some Arthur Ashe?" You might be arrested because if you change that to mean hash, you might, instead of getting money, somebody might say, "Oh, there's some drug dealers down the road. Stand on the corner there. You'll get some.
Yes.
Get some stuff."
You seem to know a lot about standing on street corners in London. Here we go. Here's another one. Here's another one,
I
Steve.
made my fortune.
Steve, wait. I'm being so nice to Steve today.
Yes, William.
And yet
Yes,
Steve is just
William.
being awkward with me.
Yes, William. That is
How about bacon and eggs?
bacon and eggs.
Bacon
Ooh,
and eggs. So,
making me feel hungry now.
so think about rhyming slang. So when we talk about someone's bacon and eggs, what are we talking about? I will give you a clue. It is part of the body.
I feel hungry now. You've mentioned bacon and eggs, Mr. Duncan, because I haven't had any lunch today. I've sacrificed my lunch for this show. Oh, right, yes. Right. People are talking about hash now.
Thank you, Shirin. Shirin, yes, well done. You've got it right. Shirin, bacon and eggs. When we say bacon and eggs, we are talking about your legs. I've been on my bacon and eggs all day. I was walking the other day and I got home and my bacon and eggs were calling out in agony. My legs were very tired. Legs.
Oh, that's a nice pair of bacon and eggs. Ha 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 ha.
You might.
A Cockney man might say to a woman with a nice pair of pins or legs,
Yes.
"Cool, blimey, that's a nice pair of bacon and eggs."
Yes. So why do you say pins?
Well, because pins is another word for legs.
It isn't. It's Cockney rhyming slang.
Well, which is another word for legs.
Yes.
Pins.
But
If you're on your pins, it means you're on your legs.
That's it. But what does it derive from?
Don't know.
Huh? Good.
Well, I would just... he's being horrible to me today. Will somebody please block Mr. Duncan?
Can I just say I am being so lovely to Mr. Steve?
No, you're not.
It is you who's being awkward.
I'm not being awkward at all, Mr.
Here we
Duncan.
go. See, I'm trying my best. Here's another one then. Oh, what about a butcher's hook?
Don't know. No idea. I'm not interested, Mr. Duncan.
Oh, interesting. What? I've been so lovely today. I promised, and I've kept my promise, to be lovely to Mr. Steve, and I have. Butcher's hook. So if we ask someone, maybe you have a butcher's hook, or we can just say a butcher's. Can you have a butcher's at my car? Can you have a butcher's
Yes.
at my next door neighbour's cat?
Sketchum has it. Nesta has it.
Yes. So sometimes we will shorten Cockney rhyming slang phrases. So you don't have to say butcher's hook. You can just say butcher's. Can you have a butcher's at my car? It's not working properly. So Cockney rhyming slang is what we're doing today.
And of course, I think it probably makes you go on. Do you want to answer that first?
Yes, we got the answer.
I've got the answer.
Look. A butcher's hook is look. So you look at something, you see something, you look at it as an action. You have a butcher's.
Doctor, I've got a weird spot on my arm. Can you have a butcher's? I think as well, maybe if a lot of people in the area all know about this, then you sort of feel part of a club, don't you? You sort of feel like you belong to a group of people. Don't you think so, Mr. Duncan? I think if everybody knows what these are, what they mean, then you're part of that group then.
Yes.
Because you understand that language,
Yes.
those little codes.
Community.
Yes, it's like a community. because it's and if you don't understand what they're talking about, then you will feel left out, and thus maybe they want to leave you out. Maybe you want maybe it's a bit of that as well, a bit of sense of belonging, like an accent, isn't it? It's like a sense of belonging to a community or an area.
Well, you go to different parts of the UK, you will hear colloquial words, so words that are used only in that area. So that they might even invent words. A good one is knout, N-O-W-T. So technically that is not a word, but it is used in the north of England to mean nothing. Nothing. So you might say, what's wrong with you? Knout. Knout. And that means nothing. So that's often used in the north of England. It's a northern expression. So you might find certain words are used in a certain part of the country that isn't used anywhere else, and vice versa.
Can we use butcher's hook as a verb? Says Soban.
Well, you are, you see. You are using it as whatever you want it to mean. So it depends on how it's being used in the sentence itself, how you are actually phrasing it. Give it a butcher's look. Give it a butcher's hook is to give it a look. You look at something. Have a butcher's.
That one you would normally just shorten it to butcher's, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You just sort of, there's something wrong with a car. You have a butcher's, mate. Have a butcher's, mate.
Have a butcher's. Have a look. Yeah. Here's another one, Steve. Moving on. What about a baker's dozen? A baker's dozen. So we are talking about family. Your family. In your family. Think of your family. In your family, you might refer to a baker's dozen. By the way, the term baker's dozen, it can also mean 13 as well in normal English. So in normal English, baker's dozen means 13. So it's one more than 12. And it's what happens when you go to a shop and you have 13 items. Maybe you buy 13 cakes or 13 buns, and we call that a baker's dozen. But in this particular situation, it is being used as Cockney rhyming slang. Baker's dozen. Oh, we've got... Oh. Nestor says frozen. Asketchum. Oh, yes. Well done.
But you see, Nestor's sort of had a good guess because it rhymes. It rhymes with it. So baker's dozen, frozen, sort of rhymes. So yes, that's a good guess, Nestor. But yeah.
A baker's dozen.
A lot of people asking, can we do a similar one to this, but with the Liverpool accent?
Well,
or maybe...
But there isn't. That's an accent. So that's where there is confusion.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But there
isn't a dialect in Liverpool. There's an accent, but there isn't. There aren't words and ways of communicating in what we call the Scouse.
Well, maybe there
language.
is. Maybe there is.
Well, yes. Well,
maybe we could look into it, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, there might be, but it's not so general as Cockney rhyming slang. So there isn't Liverpool rhyming slang.
It's New Earth's birthday today.
Okay.
Happy birthday.
Okay, good. Cockney rhyming slang. So
it does, Tomek, if you pronounce it in a certain way.
Baker's dozen.
Baker's dozen frozen.
Baker's dozen is your cousin. Baker's dozen is your cousin, which of course is your brother or sister's children. Your cousin, a distant cousin, or maybe a person who is related to you, not directly. So maybe your mother or father's brothers or sisters, their children will be your cousins. A baker's dozen is your cousin. I like that one. Interesting. Oh, by the way, I'm back on Wednesday, for those wondering. So when we finish today, don't worry, I am back on Wednesday. I've also been filming a new lesson, a new video.
He's been out and about.
I was out walking around, stretching my what?
Your pins.
The one I just mentioned.
Well, go on.
No.
I can't remember, Mr. Duncan.
Oh my goodness, it was only a few
2 minutes ago. See, he's always trying to show me up, make me look an idiot. That's
No,
what
I'm
you
not.
like to do, isn't it, Mr. Duncan?
I just thought you would help to remind everyone.
Well, you do
Anyway.
it instead of asking me, and then I don't know it, and I look an idiot.
Here's another one. We've still got 15 to do.
Oh my God!
Thanks, Steve. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Here's another one. Oh, bangers and mash. You might say that we've already actually done this one already.
Is it back to a certain drug again, Mr. Duncan?
No, it isn't. Something you have in your pocket, something you have, but sometimes you don't have it. You don't have enough of it.
Is that similar to one we had before?
Yes,
Bangers and mash.
I will give you the answer to this one very quickly because this is a quick one. It is once again cash. Your bangers and mash, cash. And of course, bangers, it is a slang term for sausages. So sausages can be described as bangers, and mash is mashed potatoes. Bangers and mash, cash.
Yes, you're in money. Oh dear, Snoo Earth. Guess who it is? It's Arpit.
Yeah, well, you
I've fallen for it again.
yes, well,
Fallen for it again.
and you were accusing me of making you look foolish,
Well, that's not quite the same.
except it is. It's exactly.
You see, the trouble is, it's been a long time since Arpit tried to do this. So, of course, I've been lulled into a false sense of security. But, of course, if you leave it for weeks and weeks, I forget about it. And then suddenly, in it goes. And, yes, I've fallen for it.
Here's another one. Here's an interesting one. Now, this is used in general English. Your Barnet Fair. Barnet Fair.
Yes.
The Barnet Fair.
So what could that rhyme with?
Well, first of all, Barnet Fair is a place that has a fair where people will gather and have a lovely time. So Barnet Fair is Cockney rhyming slang for something maybe women will always be conscious
Yes, Esketchum.
of their
That is correct.
Barnet Fair. Barnet Fair. And we can shorten this to Barnet. So you can say Barnet instead of Barnet Fair. And it means the same thing.
Yes, Svetlana, yes, we've got it. Nesta's got it. Shirin's got it. Yes.
Your Barnet Fair is your hair. But we often shorten this and it is used in general English. So your Barnet is your hair. So, your Barnet looks great today. I like your Barnet. Your hair is your Barnet because it relates to Cockney rhyming slang, Barnet Fair, hair. I like it. We'll have another one, Steve. We only have 15 minutes left.
Well.
Oh,
No, Shirin's falling for it as well.
Oh.
It's not anybody's birthday that we know of today.
yes.
So Beatrice is asking, do you normally use Cockney? Well, no. It's
No.
only if you are a Cockney or if you're from London.
But it is possible sometimes to use Cockney rhyming slang, normally in a humorous way. So you might hear people generally do it as well. And another one, a good one, you might say, You might ask a person if they are going out tonight, and they might say, "No, I'm on my Todd tonight. I'm on my Todd. I'm by myself."
So where does that come from, Mr. Duncan? Is that Cockney? Is that Cockney?
It is not Cockney,
Okay.
but that's just a good use of a colloquialism, you see, that you might use. Anyway.
So we do use, Beatrice, we will use some of them. Some of these you would use. Have a butcher's, that's a common one. People do say that probably all over the country. Not that much, but some people will. We'll tell you if it's one that people commonly use.
Here's another one. Boat race. The boat race. A boat race. Of course, the boat race is something that is held every year where two universities set out to beat each other at rowing the boat race. But it can also be Cockney rhyming slang. A person's boat face. A boat race. I just gave the answer, by the way.
Oh, Mr. Duncan, right.
Boat race. Oh, Nestor's got it anyway. Nestor has got it.
Yes,
Well done.
Alexandra, yes. So it's not common to use these in everyday conversation. You might do, but Mr. Duncan's just doing this in case you do hear them.
Yes.
You might hear them on television programmes. You might hear them, particularly you might hear, I don't know really if they even use them very much in London anymore. I presume they do. But yes, that's it. You've got it. Face.
Yes. So
because it rhymes.
The boat race is your face. Yes. The boat race is a person's face. Just to make sure, face. Your boat race is your face. Cockney rhyming slang. But you can use it humorously as well. Cockney rhyming slang can be used humorously as well, in a humorous way. It's also a good way of remembering words as well. So I found in the past, and this is one of the things I used to do when I was teaching English in person with a person in front of me, one-to-one. Sometimes I would use other words that would rhyme with that word to help people remember, especially if you are trying to remember a list of words. If you want to remember maybe 5 or 10 words, sometimes using other words associated or connected with those words can actually help you to remember, especially if you use it in a form of a sentence. So that is a good way of remembering words.
Palmyra makes a comment about people who identify as Cockneys. That in the 19th century they lived near London, then they moved to the capital. So that could well be true. There might have been a group of people that called themselves Cockneys and they moved to London. We don't know, but that if you've read that, then that's probably true.
Well, the first time it was ever mentioned was in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. So Canterbury Tales, I'm sure you've heard of it. And in that, Cockney is used for the first time. So it's around, well, we are talking probably 100, 150 years ago.
I think it's more than that, Mr. Duncan.
Where it originated. Yes.
Yeah, so, yeah. So
before
that's
people
probably
started
true.
using Cockney as a general word.
Okay.
Oh, I see. Yes, that's it. Yes. So not originally in London, but outside London, and then moved to London. I like that. Yes. Very nice. Here's another one, Mr. Steve. What about this? Now, this is one that's used in normal English, in general English. You might tell a person to get down to brass tacks. It is time to get down to brass tacks. So this is actually used in general English. Maybe you have an important meeting and lots of things to discuss. You have to discuss the brass tacks. This is Cockney rhyming slang.
Sketcham's got it again.
Oh, I'm just wondering, Sketcham, are you a Cockney? Are you living in East London? I wonder. It's the plane going over their house.
That's it. We've got the answer to this one, Mr. Duncan.
Oh, yes. The facts. Yes. If you are talking about the truth, the actuality, the facts are the things that are true or real. The facts. Yes.
Oh, a Sketchum. That's his their favourite accent.
Oh, I see.
Oh, right. That's good. Good to know. Svetlana's got it as well. I suppose now's the time to drop in that we're not doing the sentence game today.
No.
So if you're waiting for this, certain people, unfortunately today, Mr. Duncan's decided to give it a rest.
Well, we're giving it a
We'll
rest for
return next week.
Maybe. I'll see how I feel. I do get complaints, you see, about certain things. Maybe today I will get complaints about not having the sentence game. But quite often I get complaints about having the sentence game. Maybe today, Steve, people will say, why did you talk about Cockney rhyming slang? Well, it's an interesting part of English, and it might be something you've never actually come across before. But I will be back on Wednesday with a completely different subject. Ooh, very nice. Here's another one. Oh, I like this one, Steve. Brown bread. Oh dear. A person who is brown bread.
Oh dear. That sounds that could be a bit of a downer, Mr. Duncan.
Yes. Brown bread. Not so good. Nestor says head.
Well, it rhymes, so
Yes.
that's a good suggestion.
Yes. Tomek also says head.
Ooh.
Shirin. Oh, well done, Shirin. Well done. Yes. If you are brown bread, you are dead. Oh, dear me. Oh, dear me.
Oh, yeah.
Brown bread.
He's been ill for a few weeks.
Yes.
His brown bread.
Yes. It might appear a little insensitive, but you might hear people say it, again, in a humorous way. He's not coming tonight. Why? His brown bread is dead.
In a way, if you were to say that, because if you just say they're dead, that's a bit blunt. But if you say, oh, yeah, he's been ill for a few weeks, he's not going to come out of it, unfortunately, he's brown bread. Then, that would sort of almost lessen the blow, maybe, of saying that.
Giovanni makes a very interesting point. Hello guys, how are you? I hope you are well. Today's topic is quite strange to me because I know it, but I don't use it. All this shows is how languages are strictly related to human life. Yes, well, that is one of the most amazing things about language. Animals. When you look around the animal kingdom, you will find that animals all have their own ways of communicating. Human beings are the same, not only from a person's experience, but also where they live, their location. So we are talking about languages, we are talking about different languages. So even within one language, you can have lots of subsections. So small areas where that particular language is used in a different way or spoken differently. So it can happen. So Cockney rhyming slang is one of those interesting things. Here's another one. We'll have a couple of more because it's nearly time to go.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm getting hungry, Mr. Duncan.
Yes.
Are we going? Have you showed a video of me jam making earlier?
No.
Okay.
I'm
so
ready.
The answer to that, Tom, is no, not today.
I am ready for a nice cup of Rosie Lee.
Is that Cockney rhyming slang?
It is. Rosie Lee is tea. A nice cup of Rosie Lee. A nice cup of tea.
It's just a bit of yeah. We don't know really why these were developed, but it's a bit of. I suppose it's just bit of light-heartedness as well. Maybe it's sort of not a joke, but sort of light-hearted banter, the way people talk to each other. Maybe that's why it's done as well. So what's the next one, Mr. Duncan?
Oh, we have Canada. Calling Canada. Canada is calling us. Hello, Canada. Hello to Casper. Casper to Yall says hello from Canada. Very nice to see you here. So what is going on today? What's it all about today, I wonder? Here's another one. Oh, I like this one, Steve. This is something we do quite often. Chew
the fat.
Chew the fat. If you chew the fat, what are you doing? And this, once again, is an expression that is often used in English as well. So we use this in English as a general term as well. So not only in Cockney rhyming slang, but also in everyday English. You might chew the fat with your neighbour. You might chew the fat with your friends. What are you doing? I wonder.
Is it cat, says Saban.
Chew the fat? Cat.
It rhymes.
It rhymes, but it is not used in Cockney rhyming slang.
I'm going to drown my chew the fat.
I just realised.
It's not cat.
I just realised what you said then.
So Nesta and Tomek have suggested, is it chat?
And Vitas?
And Vitas, yes.
Shirin says talk informally.
Yes, chat.
Yes. Yes. You are chewing the fat. And yes, this is Cockney rhyming slang. That's where it actually comes from. You chat.
Yes.
You chew the fat. You have a chat. You talk.
Almost not quite arguing, Alessandra, not quite arguing, but there might be a debate going on. If you chew the fat, chat. Yeah, it just means you're chatting, really. Not getting into any deep subjects.
And a couple of more. Oh, there it is again. We have china plate.
China plate.
Yes. And this is actually used quite often in normal English. You might hear people say, my old china. You see, that's where it comes from. China plate.
How are you, me old china?
So if you refer to someone as your china or your old china, china plate, used in Cockney rhyming slang is where it comes from. But what does it mean?
Vitas has suggested late.
It is not.
Svetlana says mate.
Oh, Svetlana. Very good. Yes. If you meet a person who you are familiar with, or a person who you've known for many years, you might describe them as your china plate. They are a good friend. They are your mate. They are your mate. So your best friend, your friend, someone you know, someone you see quite often, someone you are very familiar with, is your mate, your china plate.
How are you, me old china plate?
Yes. So quite often we will shorten that to just china.
And when we say mate, we mean friend, buddy, not sexual partner.
No, it is used as a noun and not a verb.
Yes.
Very different things altogether. And I think we'll have one more, and then we will go. Let's see. Let's find an interesting one.
Just think, Giovanni says, I'm hopeless on this subject. Just think of a word that rhymes with the last word in the sentence.
Here's a good example of that.
Dog and bone.
Dog and bone.
So what rhymes with bone?
So quite
it's
often,
always the last word, isn't it, Mr. Duncan?
So quite often, yes, it's the last word that is the rhyming word. So if you are talking to someone on the dog and bone.
So Vitas, yes, it could be stone. Stone rhymes with bone.
Vittoria says, oh, very interesting. Yes, you see. And
stone.
And Shirin. Yes. If you talk to someone on the old dog and bone, you talk to someone on the phone. You talk to them on the telephone. You chat on the phone.
Yeah, well done. A lot of people got that one. Tomek suggested it was grown as well.
I think a lot of
why he's suggesting that.
I think a lot of people might be groaning because
Eskatchum says I look stagnant today.
no, trust me, that's normal.
Not pregnant, I hope.
No, stagnant.
Stagnant. So you wouldn't. So yes, thank you. Thank you for saying that. So what you mean is I'm not as lively as normal.
Yes.
You probably wouldn't.
No, I think something that's still or not moving or something that isn't changing very much.
But
still,
you don't normally describe people as stagnant.
No.
It's a very good word to use.
Yes.
I'm very impressed that you've used that word. But you normally use that. You don't use that normally to describe people's behaviour as being sort of still and not moving. A pond could be stagnant.
Yes.
A body of water, stagnant, smelling.
Yes.
But not normally people. But I get your point. I get your point.
To stagnate is to become still.
Although Victoria says that she likes me like this. Maybe, you see, you can't please everyone. If I'm too lively, people like it, but some people don't. If I'm stagnant, normally stagnant things smell as well, by the way.
Yeah.
If you've got a stagnant pool, it means the water's been standing there a long time and it smells.
Yeah.
So are you actually saying that I'm smelling? Do I smell a Sketchum? Maybe
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
Get a whiff off me, Mr. Duncan.
Okay. Hello, Addy. Addy. Yes, apparently the last time. Yes, I remember now. Addy mentioned, Mr. Duncan, last time you said that you were curious about my online class. It is connected to programming and coding with computers. And I'm being taught by a white hat hacker.
Ah, right. Is this Cockney rhyming slang?
No.
Oh.
No.
It sounds like it could be. White hat hacker.
Yes. Well, I think that is actually what they are, what they do. They are probably a person who knows and understands computers so well that they can break in to other people's servers and computer systems, like what's been happening in Russia, because the Russian elections are taking place at the moment, and already there have been some problems. Apparently some other countries, I'm not going to say where, but some other countries have been trying to hack into the Russian voting system. Ooh.
All the countries do it to each other, don't they?
They do.
Good grief. Tom extend 14,567 steps today. That's a lot. That is a lot of steps. That must hours and hours of steps.
Well,
or are you taking lots of little steps?
Well, when I was out the other day filming, I did 10,500 steps. One of the reasons was because I became lost as well. I got lost. I ended up in the middle of a big field and I couldn't work out where I was. But I eventually found my way back home.
Well, I mean, in an hour, how many steps can you do in an hour? Probably, I don't know, 7,000 steps in an hour. So I reckon you've been walking for a couple of hours or something today. So Giovanni says, in conclusion, when we're talking about Cockney rhyming slang, how would you describe it as? What is the purpose of it? Is it a language that was used as a code in difficult times?
It wasn't necessarily used covertly or without being understood. It just developed in that area. So you might find this does happen in lots of situations. I mean, when you talk about the United States, there are small areas of the United States where there are languages or ways of speaking that developed in their own place or at their own community. We often hear the term that I don't like, by the way, ghetto talk. So ghetto is an area that is isolated or consists of a certain group of people, and they tend to keep themselves to themselves. They don't mix or go outside. But I don't like that term very much, and I don't think it's used anymore. But certain ways of speaking can come from certain groups who live in certain areas. So I think that's the best way of describing how Cockney rhyming slang became what it actually is.
Somebody must have started it, and we don't. I mean, yeah, it's not to describe it as a bit of fun. It's just, it's not in difficult times. It's just that's just what they do. They've just developed that over the years.
Yes.
Adi says that an ethical computer hacker. So you wouldn't normally associate those two things together, computer hacker and ethical. But I know what you're saying, because a security expert who specialises in testing other people's organisational systems.
So they're a good guy.
Yeah, so they're not hacking to get information. They're hacking to say, look, your system isn't secure enough. You better do something about it. That happened recently in, I think it was one of these cryptocurrency online sites where you can buy cryptocurrencies. Somebody hacked into it and took some currencies out, but they weren't doing it to steal them. They gave them back. So what they did was that they pointed out that there was a problem with this system security, and as a result of that, I think they're now employed. Ada, you'll probably know this one. They ended up being employed by the company for exposing that their systems were weak. So they've now employed them to actually do a job for them. I think that's right.
It is interesting how some criminals end up actually doing something useful. There was a famous guy, I can't remember his name, but he was a character in a movie called Catch Me If You Can. And he is a guy who forged all sorts of things, documents, signatures, and he used to actually do jobs that he wasn't qualified to do, or something that he learnt to do, but he would then trick his way into doing it. But he eventually became a person who worked for the American banking system to spot forged checks. So it can happen. You can have something you do that is seen as bad, but it can eventually be used for good.
And some people are obviously doing it to, 2 hours it took Tomic to, that's about right, I would say, yes. A nice stroll.
Yes.
Right, Mr. Duncan, I'll go and put the kettle on.
Yes.
Is there any Cockney rhyming slang for making a cup of tea?
Well, Rosie Lee.
That's it. I'll go and make us a cup of Rosie Lee, Mr. Duncan, and I shall look forward to seeing you all again next week.
Yes.
I think that's about it, Mr. Duncan. That's all I've got to say.
Is that about it?
That's about it. I am fine, but yes.
You seem a bit down.
I'm fine. Yeah. Fine.
So thank you very much, Stagnant Steve.
Stagnant Steve, yes, that's me from now on.
We'll see you again next Sunday.
I'm not moving very much and I smell. I know, I'm only joking. Bye then, bye everyone, see you next week, have a good week.
And Mr. Steve is now going. Oh, it's not fair. We want Mr. Steve to stay here for the rest of the day. It would be ever so nice. Time to go then. Yes, I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. Something different. I thought we would concentrate on just one subject. And it's something that I think is interesting, unusual. It is a good talking point as well, I suppose. Thank you very much for your company. It's been an interesting day. I am back with you on Wednesday. I will not keep you any longer because I'm sure you have lots of good and interesting things to do with the rest of your day. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. And I will see you again on Wednesday from 2 p.m. UK time is when I'm back with you. Thanks for your company. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. It's been interesting, I think. And Mr. Steve was, he was in a very mellow mood, and I was on my best behaviour. Did you notice? I was so nice to Mr. Steve today. I didn't say anything rude. I didn't disagree with him. I was so lovely to Mr. Steve today. I'm off now, and yes, it is Sunday, and we all know what that means. I will be going into the living room, into the lounge, and I'm going to watch some Columbo. Oh, by the way, last week they showed my favourite episode of Columbo, Ransom for a Dead Man, was last week. We enjoyed watching it again, Mr. Steve and myself. See you later. Take care. I hope you have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you on Wednesday. By the way, I'm going to the dentist on Tuesday. The dentist is going to take a look at my teeth to see if anything needs doing. I have a feeling I might need a little bit of cleaning, a little bit of scaling, and maybe a little bit of polishing as well. See you later. Take care. Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your day. And of course, until the next time we meet here, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Ta-ta for now.